It's time for the best IEM in the world in each price bracket or price ranges, whatever you want to call it. This is the updated edition 2022. I did one of these last year, but of course with so many products released, especially in the sci-fi market, the list has changed quite dramatically. And today we're going to cover all price ranges under 50, under 100, under 200, under 3, under 5, under 750, and the end game IEM. Yes, anything above 750, I'm going to give you the best of the best end games for your taste. How about that? Hey friends, Timmy here, welcome back to another video on Giz Audio, and today let's just jump right into the action, starting with the under $50 tier. Now of course there's many options you can go for regardless of each price point, but I'm gonna restrict the choices to only one IEM. Yes, even though there's so many good ones, I'm restricting myself to only one best one, just to keep this list as simple as possible. Now, first category, under $50, this thing is an amazing IEM right here. I reviewed this a couple videos ago, and this one is the Moondrop shoe. Coming in at only $20, this thing has the quality of a $100 IEM, especially in the tuning department. It is so well tuned, surprising for the price, surprising for even something under $100, because very few IEMs can get tuning this correct, let alone under 100 or even sometimes under $200. But let's not go that far. Under $100, this is a spectacular IEM, but under $50, this is a unicorn. One and done, the first IEM you should grab when you start this hobby, and the first IEM you should think of when anyone you know wants to jump into the hobby, you want to recommend a good gift for someone. This is the first one to buy. Under $100 now, jumping up the scale, this thing is just as well tuned as the Moondrop shoe, but has better levels of details. So wider soundstage, everything comes across a little bit more pinpoint accuracy, everything's a little bit clearer than on the shoe, but tuning wise, kind of similar, same quality type of tuning, and this one is the Dunu Titan S, coming in at $79 or $80 if you round it up. Amazing IEM right here. I bet though some of you guys are thinking that I would have mentioned another IEM under $100 that I mention all the time, which in this video I'm not gonna mention, by the way, absolutely not gonna mention it. That one is still spectacular and stands toe to toe with the Dunu Titan S, but for this video's sake, the Dunu Titan S is actually more my taste, hence I like it and recommend it more. Next is the under $200 price point. Now this is kind of a bloodbath battlefield. It's the most competitive price range you'll find in sci-fi, period, because there's so many good ones, and I know I promised not to name any other IEMs but one IEM, but here are just the lists of phenomenal IEMs under 200. You can go for any one of these and you will not be disappointed. But the one king for me, the one that stands out and arguably the most unique one of the bunch is this one, the Les Shores S12. This thing is a planar magnetic IEM with a V-shaped type of signature with a lot of focus on the treble area, which in this case luckily means it brings also more details, more micro nuances from the song. Now rolling back a bit, too much treble can also mean fatigues, sibilances, just overall peakiness and unevenness, but not in this case. In this case, a lot of the quality that comes with having too much treble is not really present in this IEM. What it does have, again, are the positive micro nuances, level of detail increases, all comes within this IEM right here. And besides that, of course, the bass is a lot and it's really good quality bass. The mid-range is very clean, leading into an energetic upper mids. Everything comes across correct with the addition of having just that extra bit of spicy treble. For those of you who are not into really heavy treble, because some of you might not be, then the other options that I just mentioned will solve that problem for you. The best thing about this for me though, that makes it the king, is the level of details. It's just simply more resolving than every other thing under $200. Now, under $300, this IEM can be called the older brother to the S12. It came out before the S12. It has all the quality of the S12, but better, like a half step, if not a whole step better than the S12 in some regards. And this one also a planar magnetic IEM. This thing is the 7Hz timeless. It has, again, everything the S12 has, but the treble in here is even better. There's a lot of treble, yes, but it's more tamed than on the S12. It's more natural than on the S12, while not really sacrificing that extra bit of details that the S12 has. In fact, the 7Hz timeless has more details and resolvability than the S12. Dare I say, it has just as much details as something in the $500 to $700 price bracket. Also, the tuning on this is very good. Of course, it is in this video. The tuning of all these IEMs are spectacular. The timeless is no exception. For $220 only, it is simply the best IEM you can grab under $300 with no close comparison, no close competition. Now we jump into the under $500 category with this IEM right here, the Moondrop Blessing 2 Dust. Now again, I promise not to mention any other IEM, but I have to in this case because the Blessing 2 comes in two varieties, the Blessing 2 Original and the Blessing 2 Dust. If you like bass, then you go for the Dust version. If you want less bass, then you would go for the original Blessing 2. Both of them though have two big selling points. Number one is the tuning is so darn well. It is near top tier levels of tuning. A lot of things comes across correct. There's very few flaws in these IEMs that you can pinpoint tuning wise. The second selling point is that the level of details is the same as the timeless, up there with a $500 to $700 to $800 type of IEM. So a lot of bang for your buck here in both the Blessing 2 and the Blessing 2 Dust. My IEM of choice though is the Dust version because I do like a bit of bass. The Blessing 2 Original has too little bass for me. I want a little bit of heft, especially in the sub bass department, and the Blessing 2 Dust does that for me. But again, both of them are spectacular. It really boils down to what your taste is, bass or less bass. Next, we have the under $750 price bracket. Now, initially, I wanted to mention two IEMs in here. One that is technically the best, which I will mention in this video, and one that is my absolute favorite under $750. But today, only gonna mention one of them, and this one is the Moondrop Variations. This thing has level of details that you would not believe. It is damn near endgame level of details. Great separation, the cleanest mid-range, maybe a little too clean for some. Some people actually think it comes across a bit thin, which I do agree, it can come across a bit thin and lacking that heft at times, but it is clean and clinical nonetheless. But the biggest selling point of these are in the sound stage. It's so wide, the treble is done so well here, the upper mid-range and treble energy is so natural, and it extends far. It has a lot of open airiness at the top end, so lending into that wide soundstage feeling. The sub bass on this is also the main focus. Not a lot of mid bass, so you won't get that thump, that slam for those of you who enjoy those. For sub bass lover though, oh my god, does it rumble your chest. It's fantastic. Love the variations, but another choice that I said I wasn't gonna mention is also very good. Just go check it out. It's my favorite for a reason. Needless to say though, both fantastic options. Now we're on to endgame territory, and in endgame, I'm gonna break my rule completely. There's not one IEM in the endgame, there are three, and they're for three different preferences, all right? One is a pure neutral. If you're into vocals, you're into instrumentals, then the first one's gonna be your pick. If you're into bass, the second one is gonna be the bass king. And if you're into the highest level of detail imaginable in IEM, then the third one is gonna be your pick. So let's start with the vocal king. This thing is the DA Audio Monarch MK2. Just an incredible IEM. The coherency, the naturalness of this is top notch. There's three different driver types in here, and it sounds like it has one driver type. It sounds like a dynamic driver, super coherent, super smooth. The sound, the tuning is just the most natural imaginable so far that I've tested on the market. I use this probably the most often because it pairs with my library very well. I love vocals, especially female vocals, and I need IEMs that recreates the vocal feeling, especially the energy, very well without coming across fatiguing anyway. And this is just so perfect for that. And the best part is $1,000. It is the cheapest of any end games that I've tried, and it performs just as well as anything in the $2,000 bracket. Next is Base God. Yes, and there's no introduction needed for this IEM because it's been around for so long that you probably heard of it in one video or an online post or another. Maybe you even walked past it in the store before. It is so popular and hailed as the base end game for a reason, and even in 2022, I think it still holds up against all the other new stuff. There's no IEMs that came out that can dethrone this base-wise yet. And this IEM is a Sony IRC1R. The base texture, the base details, the base power is otherworldly. It is so good. You need to just listen to it to find out how good the bass is in here. But the one thing people don't really talk about with these IEMs is the treble response. The treble is also amazing. You can almost call this treble king as well because the treble is so natural and extends so far, gives a lot of air, gives a lot of details. It's just a phenomenal IEM on both the bass and the treble front, but a lot of people know it more for the bass. The mid-range is great, is near top tier quality. It has a little less energy than I would personally like though in the upper mids, but a lot of you guys would not really notice that at all and won't find it a bother. A lot of you who buy this are gonna be focused on the bass and it's gonna satisfy you 100%. Lastly, we have the most resolving IEM on the planet, and dare I say the most expensive in this list, but it is worth it. It's so addicting. The level of clarity, the level of details you get in here is unlike anything else. If you were to burn my house down and force me to just keep one IEM, I keep this one. It's just that addicting. I can't imagine going through my days without having this as an option to listen to whenever I want to. This IEM is the Anole VX. The detail, the clarity, the sound stage. The tuning, of course, is top tier. Natural feeling mid-range, natural feeling treble area especially. Very speedy IEM. The bass is also great, but the biggest selling point definitely is the resolution. And if you have not heard the VX before, you would never understand how good it is. But once you hear it, you're cursed forever, man, because yeah, you're gonna want it, and maybe someday you'll buy it. But you won't regret it because it's that good. All right, that's it for this video today. Thank you so much for watching. And don't forget to subscribe and comment down below one of your all-time favorite IEMs. I don't care what price point. I just want to know what you guys like. Comment that down below and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace. Bye.